A lovely good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchtime Cafe. This is an all-inclusive buffet, and to just kick started with the Lunchtime Cafe, we'll go straight into the nutrition corner so that we can get to know on how we can lead a nutritious lifestyle. So let's get an update.
Good afternoon, viewers. It's such a pleasure to be talking to you today. My name is Belinda Shula Tembo. I am a nutritionist at the National Food and Nutrition Commission. So today we are going to be talking about nutrition assessment. How do you get to know as a lay person whether or not you are healthy, whether or not you are eating right? There are certain signs that we look out for as nutritionists, as dietitians or medical practitioners that will give us an indication as to your nutritional status. So I would like to run you through the 4 things that we normally look out for so that you can also look out for them at home. You don't always have to wait until there is a problem for you to come to the clinic or hospital. You can actually note these things at home on yourself and also for your loved ones, especially the younger children who are not good at looking out for these things or who may not even be interested. First of all, we have what we call the ABCDs of nutrition. Number 1, we have what we call the anthropometric measurements. I know it's a big word. Anthropometric, basically just looking at body measurements. So we measure certain parts of the body to assess whether or not you are of a good nutritional status. And then secondly, we have what we call biochemical or biomedical signs. This is where now we take your blood to actually check what is in the blood that can give us a sign of your nutritional status. For example, how much cholesterol do you have? I'm sure most of you will have done such tests and realized that the doctor will say your cholesterol is too high, your iron levels are too low, and so on and so forth. So that is what we call the biochemical checks that we do. And then the C is actually the clinical signs. So by clinical signs, I mean when I look at you, what is it that gives me a sign or an indication that you could have a nutritional deficiency or you are actually okay. And then lastly, it's your diet. That's the D. So what are you eating as an individual? So very quickly, let's start with the anthropometric measurements or body measurements. First of all, I'm sure you've heard of BMI. It's a very popular measurement that is done in nutrition. It stands for body mass index. So basically, when as a nutritionist, I take your body mass index, I'm literally comparing your height against your weight, or rather your weight against your height. So I divide your weight in kilograms divided by your height in meters squared. So let's say you weigh 80 kilograms and you have a height of 1.65. So I'll say 1.65 times 1.65. The answer that I'll get, I divide it into your weight of 80 kilograms, and that's what gives me your BMI. So when we look at BMI, it is helpful. It has its own limitations, but it gives me an indication of your nutritional status to know whether you are underweight, overweight, normal, or actually even obese. So the normal category is when you get a reading of below, or rather between 18.5 to 24.9. So anything below 18.5, I'll most likely consider you to be underweight. Anything between 18.5 and 24.9, I'll consider you to be of good weight. And then anything above 24.9, or let's just say 25 to about 30, I'll consider you to be overweight. And above 30, that is when obesity now kicks in. And there are 3 classes of obesity. There is class 1, which is between 30 and 35, class 2, which is between 35 and 40, and then class 3, which is above 40. That's what we call now morbidly obese, where even movements become difficult. These are people who you will see maybe carried in a wheelchair and so forth. So that's what BMI tells me, but it has its own limitations. For example, if you are a bodybuilder, you just have a lot of muscle. Muscle actually weighs more than fat. And so if I used BMI on someone who has a lot of muscle, it will actually give me a very wrong picture. Or if I used it on someone who is shorter than 155 centimeters, it will give me a wrong reading. It will say the person is overweight when maybe they are not even overweight. So that is the limitation of BMI. So then we go on to use other measurements like the waist circumference, which for me, I feel is a better tool, or actually should be used in connection or together with BMI. So your waist circumference is basically a simple tape measure that you even have in your home, like the ones that tailors would use. You wrap it around your waist using your belly button as a reference point, and measure that circumference around from the point of your belly button. If you get a measurement, if you're a lady and you get a measurement above 88 centimeters, it is not a good sign. What that means is that you have collected a lot of fat around your abdomen, your stomach area. And I say that is dangerous because you see above the legs, or rather in the upper body, that's where you find your heart, that's where you find your liver, your kidneys, your, all the vital organs, reproductive organs, and so forth. Now imagine a lot of fat surrounding all those key organs. It makes it very difficult for them to function, and that's how come we end up with a number of diseases like type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and so on and so forth. It's because of excess fat also around the abdominal area. So those are the 2 that I want to share with you when it comes to the A of nutrition measurements or assessments. We look at BMI and your waist circumference. For the men, anything above 102 centimeters is not a good sign. So if you take your measurement and you are 105, 110, please work to reduce that to below 102 centimeters if you are a man, and below 88 centimeters if you are a lady. Okay, so that is the A of nutrition. Let's go to the B. What is it that we look out for when your blood is drawn at the clinic or at the hospital? It also gives a sign of your nutritional status. So for example, I gave an example of cholesterol. Cholesterol is basically a bad fat, and it would actually move in your bloodstream. It would be in your blood if it is in excess. So we look at cholesterol levels to be below 5, or 5 and below to be better. So if your cholesterol level is above 5, it is not a good sign. So please, if you've done your blood work or your blood check and the doctor said your cholesterol level is a bit too high, it would mean that it's most likely above 5 millimoles per liter of blood. So you need to actually make sure that you reduce. And also, let's have that habit of checking our health status. Don't wait until something happens for your blood work to be done. From time to time, just walk into a hospital or a clinic and say, I want to check my blood sugar levels, my blood cholesterol, my blood pressure, and so on and so forth. And that will give you also a sign as to how well you are doing before it gets too late. So that's about cholesterol. When it comes to sugar, another key indicator of nutrition in the blood is your sugar levels. So sugar actually should be between 4 to 6 millimoles per liter of blood. So when your sugar levels, especially when it is fasting sugar levels meaning you haven't eaten anything in the day, and then you check your sugar levels and it is maybe say 20, that is not a good sign. Because how come you haven't eaten anything but your blood sugar level is high? That could be an indication of there is a hormone in the body called insulin, which is released to mop out the excess sugar. So it could be that insulin is not being released enough, or it is also being released enough, but it is not doing the job it is supposed to do. So there are ways of correcting that, and as long as it is picked up early, you are good to go. So that's a bit about blood sugar levels. But what about clinical signs? Remember I said we have A, B, C, D of nutrition assessment. So we've talked about A, we've talked about B. Let's go to C, the clinical signs. When I look at you, what is it that tells me your nutritional status is not right? Check your nails. Nails are very easy to look at. So when you look at your nails, it actually, if you have those white specks, so to say, white little marks on your nails, it is a sign of either zinc or iron deficiency. So from time to time, especially we the ladies, we are very prone to iron deficiency or low iron levels. So check your nails, especially after your menses. It will give you a sign to say, oh, you are very low on iron. Either start taking supplements or focus more on iron-rich foods like the dark green leafy vegetables, animal source foods, if you take animal source foods like meat, but especially dark green leafy vegetables, you need to increase the amount of those foods, right? So that is about one example that I gave of a clinical sign is iron, but also your eyes. Your eyes say a lot. When the white of your eyes has a yellowish color, it is not a good sign. Of course, there are times where you've just not had enough sleep, but even if you haven't had enough sleep, it will be reddish in color. But if it is a nutrition deficiency, it will most likely be yellowish, to have a yellowish tint to it or a cream white tint to it, and it is not a good sign. So that could be a sign of vitamin B deficiency, especially B12 deficiency. Those who take excessive alcohol, you are most likely at risk of vitamin B deficiency, because to just get rid of that alcohol, the body treats alcohol like a toxin, and so everything else in the body gets to stop, the digestion and whatever other bodily processes, just so that it gets rid of this alcohol. So those who are habitual drinkers of alcohol, you actually stress your body in terms of B vitamins, because for that alcohol to be processed correctly, it requires a lot of B vitamins, and you lose out quite a lot. Also, those with a poor diet, you are more at risk of vitamin B deficiency. And also, I would say the vegans who do not touch any animal foods, the vegans, I would actually ask that you take supplementation of a B complex so that you avoid some of these clinical signs of B vitamin deficiencies. So those are just some examples of what we look out for in your clinical signs. But also, maybe just to add another example, it will be your palms as well. You find that the doctor would drop your eyelid to just check the blood in below your eyes, and also the palms of your hands. That's because we are looking for whether or not you have sufficient blood. Some medical personnel would even squeeze your hands to see whether or not there will be a white or yellowish patch that remains for a long time. That's the one way in which we know that, okay, it could be a blood problem that you have. So again, when you are low on blood, most likely you are also low on calcium, you are low on iron, and so forth and so forth. And the thing with calcium is the body will always draw from your bones. So if you are low in blood, and so you're meaning you're drawing calcium away from your bones into your blood, that means that, you know, you're weakening your bones, and by the time you are hitting 50, are actually very, very frail. So to avoid that, we ensure that your diet is actually good in micronutrients. You need to have a high micronutrient diet. We'll get to that. Another clinical sign, especially in children, which I would ask mothers to look out for, especially children under the age of 2 years, just squeeze the legs, both feet. Take both feet in your hand and squeeze the top of the feet. When you squeeze the top of the feet, if there is an indentation, or basically the mark of your finger remains for a long time after you've pressed for maybe say three seconds, you can count to 3, 1, 2, 3, and you release. If your finger or your fingerprint has remained in there for some time, it could be that your child is actually severely malnourished and has to be rushed to the hospital. But don't wait until all those things happen. Let's learn about, you know, checking your nutritional status more often by visiting these health facilities. They are there for you. The nutritionists at the health facilities are actually waiting for you to show up so that they can advise you on 1 or 2 things. Lastly, I mentioned the D is diet. What is it that you are eating? In this series, we've been talking about the 6 food groups, and we need to eat from all these 6 food groups ideally, unless you are a vegan, like I said earlier, you do not eat animal foods, then you eat from the 4 food groups, so 4 out of 6 at least. But nobody should be eating less than 4 food groups, eating from less than 4 food groups per day. So what are these food groups? Just to recap, number 1, cereals, starchy roots and tubers. These are foods like nshima, potatoes, rice, and so on and so forth. And then we have your vegetables, and I know we have plenty of vegetables in Zambia of different kinds. And then also your fruits, and then legumes, pulses, nuts, and seeds. We used to call them legumes, but they're actually called pulses. Foods like beans, soya beans, include them in your diets, groundnuts, and so forth. And then also, of course, lastly, dairy or milk and milk products. Include those in your diets, and animal source foods as well, meat, chicken, including insects as well. Finkubala, inswa, fulufute, all those are animal source foods that you can consume from. So please ensure to diversify, meaning eat different types of foods within the group as well as across all the 6 food groups. I hope you learned a thing or two about the ABCDs of nutrition assessment. My name is Belinda Shulatembo. I hope to see you again in the next session. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll talk again later. Good afternoon.
So interesting enough, and it is still afternoon, and I hope you are enjoying your lunch. And today on the Emerging Stories segment, we are bringing you updates from the Agriculture and Commercial Show. As you already know, the 95th Agriculture and Commercial Show, which is being marked under the theme Inclusive Economic Transformation, is still ongoing, and today happens to be the last day. I hope you did have yourself a wonderful time, those of you who have been to the show, and those of you who are at the show, I hope you are managing to get all the entertainment and the information you can get from various institutions that are exhibiting at the ongoing show. And now we also have to bring to you some of the stand coverages that we have undertaken on as Camnet TV. We continue to interact with the exhibitors, and some of them are the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ. You can get to know about the electoral process if you visit the stand for the Electoral Commission of Zambia. And we also spoke to the Zambia Compulsory Standards Agency. The agency also advised the showgoers to make sure that they stay away from buying expiry products. Make sure that they check the products before they buy, because sometimes unscrupulous business people do take advantage of the situation and tend to swindle or rather to dupe people who cannot be suspecting such EU activities. And you can also visit Savenda Electronic and to get to know about some of the innovations, especially pertaining to this sector. And you can also visit Zambezi Seed. We also spoke to Zambezi Seed and the corporate affairs manager there. Mr. Evans Ngoma spoke to us pertaining to what they are doing as Zambezi Seed. And we also have the Human Rights Commission, and the commission is also emphasizing issues pertaining to the human rights, and they are among the people we spoke to at the ongoing Agriculture and Commercial Show. And we also have the Zambia Information and Communications Technology Authority, ZICTA, who are also playing a key role. They continue to remind us to be digital, to observe digital safety, and also ensure that we report issues pertaining to scams. So they are also at the Agriculture and Commercial Show, and we did speak to them pertaining to how they are interpreting the theme for this year. And also at the ongoing show, we have the Zambia Institute of Human Resource and Management, who also spoke to us regarding what they are doing to make sure that they curb irregularities in the sector. And we also have the Zambia National Building Society, ZNBS, who are also informing us of various issues pertaining to the housing sector and how the housing deficit they are positioned themselves to address the housing deficit that Zambia is projected to have. As you already know, Zambia is expected to have the housing deficit double, which is currently standing about 2 million housing units. So they are updating us regarding what they are doing to make sure that they provide solutions to some of the challenges people are facing, especially to own property in the name of housing. So it is quite interesting. So let's get to listen what the Zambia National Building Society has for us in terms of at the ongoing show, and how they are interpreting the theme, and what initiatives they have come up with to make sure that no one is left behind. So these are some of the institutions that we are going to look at this afternoon.
Welcome to the Electoral Commission of Zambia stand. Here at the stand, we are exhibiting quite a lot of things. We are exhibiting a lot of items that we use during the electoral process. For those who have never voted before, we are also exhibiting the electoral procedure, how you vote when you are in a polling station. So for first-time voters, please come to the Electoral Commission of Zambia stand and come and access information. I would also just want to inform viewers that we have a 5-year electoral cycle, and in this cycle we have various milestones, and the first milestone is the delimitation exercise. During the delimitation exercise is where we delimit electoral boundaries, which include constituencies, wards, and polling districts for allocating voters into voting centers. After the delimitation exercise, we go into voter registration. During voter registration, this is where we capture would-be voters so that they can vote during elections. And I am glad to inform you that during this show, we are also registering voters right here at the stand. So take advantage, come to the Electoral Commission of Zambia stand and register as a voter if you are not registered. Some of the requirements for you to be able to register as a voter: you must be a Zambian citizen, you must have attained the age of 18, and you must have a green national registration card. Once you meet all those requirements, you are free to come to the stand and obtain a voter's card. Apart from voter registration, we move into what we call nominations. This is a process where aspiring candidates to offices of president, member of parliament, mayor or council chairpersons, and councillor lodge their applications. From this nomination process, then we move into the voting process. Now, I just want to talk about some of the services that we are offering during this voter registration exercise. We are registering those who have never registered before. So we are offering new registrations. If you wish to transfer between polling stations, this is another service that we are offering. For instance, if you are voting from one primary school and you wish to change to vote from another primary school, you are free to do so if you have a reason why you want to do that. You are free to come through and transfer your voting station. For those that may have lost their voters' cards, or they have their voters' cards defaced, or their voters' cards are destroyed or damaged for one reason or the other, we are also replacing voters' cards. So come to the commission stand and replace your voters' card. All you need is to come with a police report. For those that wish to change their names, this is another service that we are offering. If you want to change your name for one reason or the other, for women, maybe you are married and you want to use your husband's name, you are free to come to the stand and do this change of names. And if for any reason there is a clerical error, maybe in the register or on your voter's card, maybe your name was misspelled, you are also free to come through and register and also have these clerical errors corrected. Now, I want to just inform you that it's not only here at the stand that we are offering this service of voter registration. Voter registration continuous has been running in the 10 provinces of the country, and in Central Province, it's at Kabwe District Civic Center. Copperbelt Province, we are registering people in Ndola at the Civic Center. Eastern Province is Chipata District at the Civic Center. Luapula Province, that is Mansa District. This is being done at the Provincial Administration Offices. Lusaka Province, it's at the Lusaka City Council Public Library within reach of the Central Business District. Northern Province, we are registering people at Kasama District. Muchinga Province, it's Chinsali District at the Civic Center. Northwestern Province, it's Solwezi District, also at the Civic Center. In Southern Province, it's Choma District, and Western Province, it's Mongo District. If you require any information as to where exactly in these districts, you can always go to the Civic Center and get this information, because most of the registration is taking place at civic centers. I'm also glad to inform you that the Commission is opening additional districts where registration will be taking place. And these are 10 additional districts in Central Province. It will be Mukoshi, Copperbelt Province in Kitwe. And this will be done during the course of this year. Very soon, these centers will be opened. In Eastern Province, we are opening an additional district, which is Lundazi. Luapula Province is in Chelenge District. Lusaka Province, it's Chongwe District. Muchinga Province is Nakonde. In Northern Province, it will be Mbala. Northwestern Province, Kabompo. Southern Province, it will be Livingstone. Western Province, it is Sesheke. These are the additional districts that we are putting up for continuous voter registration. If you didn't know about the service hours, operational hours, Monday to Friday, 8 hours to 17 hours, apart from Saturday, Sunday, and public holidays where we remain closed. I just want to emphasize on the requirements. For you to register as a voter, you must have attained the age of 18 years and above. You must be a Zambian citizen, and you must be in possession of a green national registration card. Now, this is for all members of the public and also all our stakeholders who include the electorate, political parties, the media like yourselves. You are critical stakeholders in the electoral process, civil society and faith-based organizations, government security agencies, traditional leaders, cooperating partners, monitors and observers. All of these stakeholders, we have something for you at the stand. If you're a researcher or you're a student or you're a pupil, you can also come through at the stand either to register as a voter or to access some of the information that is displayed here, some of the information that might be very important and critical to the work that you are doing. So feel free to come to the stand. You are welcome. Come one, come all.
As you may be aware, the commission is established under the Constitution, under Article 229, and it's the same Constitution that gives the commission its mandate. So among some of its mandates, the commission registers voters, okay? It conducts elections as well as referendum. It implements the electoral process. So when you talk about implementation of the electoral process, there are various processes, just as Madam Sylvia has explained. There are various processes that the commission embarks on. The commission is also mandated to settle minor electoral disputes, okay? Accredit observers, agents, as well as delimit electoral boundaries. Those are some of the mandates as per the Constitution. We also have statutory mandates. Okay, some of the statutory mandates would include, for example, establishing conflict management committees during elections. So when you talk about conflict management committees, I'll get back to that. It's related to the mandate of settling minor electoral disputes. Before I talk about conflict management committees, there are other legal there are other legislation that regulate the commission. So you're talking about, apart from the Constitution, I've already mentioned the Electoral Process Act. You also have the Electoral Commission of Zambia Act. You have the Referendum Act, and you also have regulations that are promulgated under these laws. For example, you have the Electoral Process General Regulations. Those are the regulations that give the commission, or tell the commission how to conduct an election from start to finish. I get back to the issue of conflict management committees. So in Zambia, we have the Electoral Commission has established conflict management committees in Zambia. We have the National Conflict Management Committee, and then we have District Conflict Management Committee. So the District Conflict Management Committees are in all the 116 districts in Zambia. So these are established pursuant to Section 113 of the Electoral Process Act. These committees are mandated to settle or handle minor electoral dispute. They use a mechanism called mediation. You would ask about their composition. These committees are composed of political parties. You have civil societies, faith-based organizations, and then you also have government institutions. For example, law enforcement agencies. You have Anti-Corruption Commission, Zambia Police. So those are some of the institutions that have formed these committees. In terms of their operation, they usually operate, or they operate immediately after nomination up to the time when the election is held. And when you talk about minor electoral disputes, you're talking about things like removal of posters, disruption of campaigns, vote buying. Those are some of the type of offenses that these committees handle. And we want the nation to know about these committees, because the law mandates anyone who sees a breach of the Electoral Code of Conduct being perpetrated by any person to report to these committees, so that the necessary actions may be taken.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the Savenda Electronics stand here at the 95th Zambia Agriculture and Commercial Show. This is where we are exhibiting. We are definitely just showcasing the different types of products and services which Savenda Electric and Savenda Electronic manufactures. These products ranges from different types of electricity and water meters which we make and supply to the different water and electricity utilities within Zambia, and also we are into exports. Apart from that, we are also exhibiting the different type of lighting solutions which we provide here, which range from different types of LED bulbs, ranging from as low as 7 watts up to 12 watts. I'm sure as you go through our stand, my colleagues will be able to show you some of these products. So we've got both the rechargeable and non-rechargeable LED bulbs. Then apart from that, we are also into street lighting, meaning we are also a manufacturer of different types of solar street lights. These range from as low as 30 watts up to 300 watts. These are some of the products which we've been supplying, and in partnership with some local councils, we have been able to install quite a number. So coming to this year's Agriculture and Commercial Show, I think it's giving us an opportunity and a platform for us to interact with our customers and would-be customers, so as to get feedback on how their experience has been with regard to the use of our various products. So I'll ask them to come through during this time of the show, to come and learn more at our stand, ask questions, and we also have some goods which are going on promotion. So we look forward to seeing the show goers as they come to visit our stand between now and the time the show will be ending on Monday.
I'm a technician / marketing manager at Savenda Electronics. So here at the show, we are exhibiting some of our products, and some of our products that I would love to interest you in are these LED energy saving bulbs. So these energy saving bulbs range from 7 watts to 12 watts. They come in both pin and screw. Apart from that, we also have the rechargeable bulbs. Rechargeable bulbs. So these, what they do is, in a case where there's no electricity, or in a case where power cuts, so this bulb will act as will remain on for a period of 6 to 8 hours. If at all it's not plugged onto the bulb holder, it can also work as a flashlight. You can just screw it onto this that it comes with, and you can move around with it. It will still give you light. Now, most people would ask a question, say, when I get this bulb and I get this bulb, they'll ask me, what's the difference between the two bulbs? The difference is that when there's no electricity, this one can still light, but when there's no electricity, this one will not light. But this one also has advantages together with this, whereby you can drop this bulb. When you drop it, it will not break. It won't even hurt you. You can just pick it up and plug it back on, and it will still give you light. We also have these ceiling lights. Others may call them down lights, others may call them panel lights. These lights range from 3 watts, 6 watts, 9 watts, 12 watts, up to 28 watts. Apart from this, we also have these fluorescent tubes. We have glass and we have plastic. The difference with these two is that when this one drops, you can pick it up and plug it, but this one is glass, so definitely it will break. But even if it breaks, it doesn't contain mercury, which is harmful to people. All these products that I've shown you are locally made right here in Lusaka at our factory in Makeni.
We have a number of solar lighting solutions that we are exhibiting at this show. I'm going to explain how they work. just now. For instance, we have this is a solar-powered floodlight. It comes with an inbuilt panel. It is monocrystal, meaning even if it is cloudy, it will still charge to full capacity. It has got 4 stages of lighting. The first stage, it will give you the daylight. Then the second stage, it will give you the warm light. Then the third stage, it will give you the combination of daylight and warm light. The fourth stage, it will give you the flashlights like these ones. Maybe if you have a breakdown somewhere during the night, you can just light up this one to alert the road user to say that you are still there. The other one I'm going to show you is this one. This one is a 90 watts solar street light. It comes with an inbuilt panel. It also has got a motion sensor, whereas if it acts as a security light. If you put it, let's say, at the gate, you mount it at the gate, how it operates is under normal light, it is dim. Then whenever it senses any motion within its radius, it lights more brighter to alert you to say that there's someone or something moving around your premises. It also comes with a remote, whereas you can put it on automatic. You don't have to worry whether you are not home. You can just put it on automatic such that as soon as it starts getting dark, it turns on. Then the discharge time will be from 10 to 12 hours, so it will cater the whole night. Then as soon as it is sunrise, it switches off, automatically, and it starts charging. Then the charging time, that will be 3 to 5 hours. Not only that one, we also have these solar street lights. With a pole, we also manufacture street poles according to your specification. Be it you want 5 meters, 7 meters, 9 meters, according to how you want them. So these solar lights come in a range of, there is 100 watts, 200 watts, 300 watts, depending on which wattage that you want. The higher the wattage, the brighter it is. So also these, they come with a remote. You can put them on automatic. As the sun rises, it starts charging, it cuts. Then it charges from 3 to 5 hours. Then again, when as soon as it starts getting dark, it switches on automatically. Or you can just switch it on and off manually like that. Not only this one, we also have ceiling lights, solar ceiling lights, as we have displayed there. These ones these are indoor. You can put them in the sitting room, living room, or kitchen, or whichever room, but they are indoor. They are also solar powered. They also come with a remote, so that you can easily control without having any difficult or physical contact with it.
Most welcome to Savenda Electronics. Savenda Electronics is part of Savenda group of companies. As Savenda Electronics, we are in the production of water and energy meters. I'll briefly talk about the energy meters. And the energy meters that we have are as follows. We have the 3-phase meters, which are meant for industrial and commercial purposes. Under the same 3-phase meters, we have an indirect meters as well as direct meters. The indirect meters, these are the meters that have current transformers incorporated for them to function accordingly. Besides the 3-phase meters, we equally have the single-phase meters like this one. This one is a single-phase meter with a keypad embedded on it. Next to this one, we also have another type of meter, which is a single-phase meter. But with this one, it comes with the customer interface. So these meters are also single-phase meters I've also already alluded to. But for this particular meter, it's a hybrid meter. in that it can be configured according to customers' demand. It can either be postpaid or prepaid meter. These are the meters that are meant for outdoor uses. These are the meters that are either put in the kiosks away from the customer to avoid fraud through tampering. These are the meters that are sometimes installed or rather put in an enclosure and mounted on the pole. These meters come along with a customer interface. In that, the customer will only remain with a customer interface whilst the meter will be away from the customer's premises. So basically, on the part of the energy meters, these are the meters that we have. So can I only demonstrate on how the communication is like? The communication between the meter and the customer interface uses the radio frequency. So a customer will be with a customer interface away from the meter with a distance of not less than 130 meters. So this is how it goes when you want to connect the meter with that is how it behaves. So this one is just telling us to say the relay which is inside the meter is operational, meaning in an event that the customer runs out of the units, I'm assured that the relay will open and the customer will be cut off from the power supply. So basically this is what we are offering under the energy meters. I'm sure my colleague will take you through when it comes to the issue of water meters that we are also producing as Savenda Electronics.
And welcome to ZRA stand. My name is Chinyama Nyerenda. I'm Acting Assistant Director, Customer Experience, Zambia Revenue Authority. Today we are looking at a different topic altogether. We are looking at tax incentives. Of course, tax incentives, these are basically policies that have been put in place by government to support business growth. So we know very well that different sectors need a bit of relief for them to grow. So as Zambia Revenue Authority, under the supervision of the Ministry of Finance, there are quite a number of incentives that have been lined up for you, our taxpayers. So for our showgoers, we are inviting you to come through and just come and have an understanding of what these tax incentives are all about. So what are we talking about? Remember, most of the businesses were hit with COVID disruption. So a lot of business were affected, and also not only that, there were no sales that were made in that period. So government, and through the Ministry of Finance and ZRA, did introduce what we call the tax amnesty. So tax amnesty, this was one of the incentives that we gave out to our dear taxpayers out there, for them to get some form of relief. So we were waiving penalties that were on people's accounts, and also just allowing you to pay the principal amount, and that will be it. So we are also excited to say about 14,000 applications were made in this period, and we are happy to say that these were processed and actually revenue was collected. The other incentive that is interesting for our viewers is that of rental income. If you know and remember very well that before 2023, rental income was charged at 10%. Not anymore. We have reduced it. It's now at 4%. So it's 4% of what you collect as a landlord. And previously it was the landlord, the tenant, who was supposed to collect that rental tax. Now it has moved to the landlord. So landlords, you are only supposed to submit 4% of the amount that you are getting. But on top of that, government has also reduced the rental amount you're supposed to pay. So if you are receiving rent with 1,000 every month, it means in essence you're not supposed to pay any tax. Okay, so those are the incentives that we are talking about. So any amount that is below 12,000 per annum will be taxed at 0, then the rest is what we tax at 4%. So those are the incentives that we're talking about. The other incentive is for small businesses. These are businesses that are registered under turnover tax. Okay, so again, income tax is for businesses that are registered for the corporate entities that are registered for income tax, and they are charged at 30%, whilst the small businesses are charged at 4%. Again, there is a relief there. There is a relief of 12,000 per annum. Now, that 12,000 per annum, we are saying you are not paying anything. We reduce the 12,000 before we actually charge you 4%. It's that small. So for those who are a number of incentives that are there, some of them it's irrigation. Those in farming, we are excited to say that can you venture into farming business? One, the tax rate is very low. It's only at 10% of your net profits. And then also, if you are importing irrigation systems, it will be zero rated. You are not paying any customs duty on that one. Then we have those laptops. Then those of you who want to do some solar importations and things like that, you go ahead and import. Solar is also at 0%. Now, what other tax incentives should a company look out for? So generally, we are promoting a lot of tax incentives in the mining sector, in the agriculture sector, in the manufacturing sector and tourism sector. As you may be aware, in the mining sector, we are talking of now those of you who are in the artisanal, those who are trying to come up with a small mining area, you are only supposed to pay 4%. Okay, from the normal 30% that corporate entities are paying. So again, that's the greatest and a valuable incentive that we have introduced. Again, just to emphasize, those in agriculture, you are allowed to make the deductions. You deduct everything that you have incurred as an expense as you are running your business, and we just charge you 10%. So as I conclude, at our show here, at our stand, which is running from the 2nd to the 7th of August, we are encouraging all our show goers to come through and access all the ZRA services. We are fully fledged, as you can see. It's a full-fledged office, and you are going to access any form of service, starting from registration. If you have any tipping issues, we can assist you. Amendment to include your business, you can assist you. Remember, it's our country that we are trying to build, because taxes will build Zambia. And most importantly, we are saying, if for us to build this Zambia, we need to tender the receipts. Let's get a receipt at any given time, because when you get that receipt, you are assured that taxes have been collected. So we have a promotion that is running at the moment, tender receipt. So wherever you are, just purchase something, get a receipt, put your full names, and you come and drop it at one of our boxes, which you can see on the screen right there. So with that said, we have other touch points that we can support you with. We have the call center, which is 4111. We have the email address, advice@zra.org.zm. We will be able to respond to all your queries. Once more, we wish to welcome you to our stand, and we're here to serve you. Remember, it's my tax, your tax is our destiny. Thank you.
Welcome to the Zambezi Seed stand. Zambezi Seed, we are suppliers of open pollinated maize seed varieties. We have two main varieties that we are promoting to the farmers out there through the farmer input support. We are not yet sitting on any shelf space of an agro shop across the country because I think we are in our infancy, but very resilient, very strong on the market. The two major varieties are one, the medium maturing variety. This is ZM521, as well as the MMV409, which is an early maturing varieties. So far, so good. These two maize varieties are performing extremely well. We would like to urge the people out there who are able to listen to this broadcast that you should try to plant Zambezi seed ZM521, a medium maturing variety. This variety has got so many benefits that comes with it. Number one, I would highlight, it is resilient to extreme weather conditions. Effects of climate change are impacting negatively most of these crops that are there. But when you plant Zambezi seed ZM521, you are assured of harvesting. Regions with very little rainfall patterns, we encourage you to plant these two varieties, ZM521 and MMV409. Well, we interpret this theme in a very, very fashionable way. The issues to do with transforming our small-scale farmers by empowering them to begin to produce their own seeds. Zambezi seed, these are open pollinated varieties. You do not need to go to any agro shop to go and buy seed. What you do is after harvesting, you select the best cobs, keep them aside. When the rains drop, you just be on your way to planting. And so we are transforming farmers, small-scale farmers, to be independent, self-sustaining when it comes to issues to do with seeds. So that's how we explain this year's theme. Actually, we're running a promotion. Those of you who were here early, you saw we were giving away a seed. There's a farmer who has just walked away with a 10 kg bag of seed to just go and plant. As soon as the show finishes, he'll be on his way to plant. And then what he will do after harvesting, actually he will not even wait for it to dry. He will sell it as fresh. Zambezi seed maize is very fresh, sweet. When you roast it, you enjoy its naturalness. Very, very sweet. So these are some of the packages we are giving to people that are passing through our stand. So I would like to encourage each one of you watching me now to rush tomorrow to come here at the stand and also come and get a 10 kg. We are not giving medals. It's 10 kg of seed so that you can plant something that you will be able to derive value from. Yeah, so this is one of the packages we are offering here at the stand. We have partnered with the Ministry of Agriculture. We're using the extension staffs dotted across the country to ensure that they impart knowledge to the farmers so that whoever has some challenges should be able to get the knowledge from the extension officers that are dotted across the country. Yeah, that's what we do.
Your long-term vision for Zambian farmers?
Our long-term vision for the Zambian small-scale farmers is that we would like to be at their doorstep. Every time they need our extension service, we are there. For those of you who are not able to reach the extension officers, they can directly call our office by using 0977 747630. They will be talking to me and we will be able to link them to the nearest extension officers for their questions to be answered. Otherwise, we want a food secure Zambia, and so we would like to encourage you to plant certified seed, right seed, and Zambezi seed is one of them.
My name is Edgar Mlauzi, Manager Consumer Protection and Compliance from the Zambia Information and Communications Technology Authority, ZICTA. We're exhibiting at this year's 95th Agriculture and Commercial Show under the theme Inclusive Economic Transformation. Now, when you talk about ZICTA, to us, our role is to ensure that ICT access transcends across all sectors in the country, and there's usage with ICTs. And we are migrating towards a digital economy. You have seen that we're now transitioning from a traditional kind of economy into a digital economy. Now, one of the issues we have noticed that because technology is moving at a faster pace, the consumers are not usually prepared for this digital transformation. And because of that, we have seen that most of the consumers, because of lack of preparedness, they're getting victims, they're becoming victims of issues like online scams. That's one of the issues we have seen. It's because, one, there's poor digital literacy skills and maybe awareness around safety and security. So what we are now trying to display here is that ZICTA has been receiving a number of some of these messages, and some of them have been projected on some of these panels. I'm sure people have received Impia Shavalanda, messages like magic money, message like reversal scams, messages like you have won maybe a certain amount, or even maybe fake job issues around recruitments. So we tend to see some of these messages, and we're wondering how maybe some consumers are also getting victims to some of these cyber crimes. One of the issues, of course, the consumer themselves have got a responsibility, as well as also on our part, ZICTA are also doing our responsibility. So now when we talk about the consumers, what are they supposed to do when they receive such messages? They shouldn't just rush and start transacting. They should also do a due diligence. If they're talking about MPSha CDF Nashis, I just say can go maybe to the councillors, they find out, is it true these messages, where are they coming from? And most of these messages have got a message sender. It shows where the message is coming from. If it is a recruitment, people can even try to find out, and maybe if that company exists in the physical world, they go and try, to find out. Quite recently, we had watched a scam which we are calling FUD, a sports betting scam, where it was promising ridiculous amounts of investment, where if you invest a certain amount, they are being promised that they are going to reap so much savings. But again, if it looks too good to be true, you can even find out from your financial institutions at what rate are they providing. If you invest money in a bank, what is maybe the interest rate on your savings. So I think sometimes consumers can also find out from Bank of Zambia. So in terms of ZICTA, what have we done as ZICTA? We have done a number of interventions, one aimed at enhancing confidence and trust in the digital economy. One of our mandates is cybersecurity and also consumer protection. So under cybersecurity, we know that there's a Cybersecurity Act, which also ensures that actually perpetrators of these vices are booked, are brought to book. And we do so, we work in partnership with the police. From ZICTA point of view, we provide technical support. And this is usually an examination of these devices which are involved in cyber crimes, and we do forensics. Our people stand in courts of law as expert witnesses. We also have got a computer incident response team where people can report cybercrime incidents. And from our reports from last year, we've seen that unsolicited messages, scams, social media hacking, these were part of the major complaints which we are receiving. So I think to us, we have come up with a deliberate education program where we're even putting messages on our Facebook page, messages in local languages, and messages across platforms and even on SMS. This is to ensure that actually we ensure that we protect the consumers against unwarranted attacks. We have also been working with institutions like regulators like Bank of Zambia. Bank of Zambia are the primary regulators when it comes to mobile money services. When you talk about Airtel money, MTN money, or Zamtel money, these are regulated by Bank of Zambia. But to a consumer, they normally see the regulator. So if money is lost on those platforms, maybe mobile, Airtel money or MTN money, the regulator you need to go to is Bank of Zambia, because they're the custodians, they're the regulators of financial services. From ZICTA point of view, of course, we look at the news number, the SIM card was registered, the KYC issues, so that maybe we can also aid the law enforcement agencies in terms of their investigations. We have also come up with a short code, *707#. This is a short code. Whenever you receive a message, Impia Shavalanda Nashisa, CDF money, you just need to dial *707#, and you enter that number which sent that message. So far, ZICTA has deactivated over 140,000 SIM cards of these perpetrators who sent unsolicited messages. But what you want now to see is those amounts which are blocked in these mobile money accounts. We want to see that some of those monies start being refunded to the consumers. Right now we're working with Bank of Zambia to ensure that maybe there's a compensation scheme of refund. For instance, if we block a number which was about to scam somebody, and we were able to see that the last person who sent this money was John Warrior, we should quickly, once we do due diligence, quickly refund John Warrior that money because it has been held up in that deactivated account. So to us, those are matters which we want to address under the collaborative framework. And this month, what we want to do is to come up with an incident reporting system. This will be centralized. There will be institutions like regulators like Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, Bank of Zambia, and law enforcement agencies together with ZICTA. So when a complaint is lodged by a consumer, it doesn't matter which part of the country, it will go into that centralized system. We'll be able to see which institution is responsible for that complaint. The consumer is going to have, or the complainant is going to have that visibility on which regulator is handling that complaint. At the moment, what is happening, somebody maybe comes to ZICTA. ZICTA will say, this is not under our mandate. They'll push the consumer to Bank of Zambia. Bank of Zambia will say, go to the police. So we are inconveniencing the consumers. But through that platform, we are going to ensure that actually we have a proper centralized system. So we want to ensure that actually consumers feel safe in the digital economy. And one of the issues we have also been working on is we have been working with the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security. I'm sure you know that there's a digital identity card which is about to be launched. So to us, we feel that actually it is going to resolve most of the challenges which we are facing. Because when you look at most of these perpetrators, they hide under false identities. Like in 2019, we had to deactivate 2.1 million SIM cards which were registered in other people's names. No wonder we have put a short code, *101#, so that the consumers or the users can check whether their NRC has been abused by these perpetrators. For instance, if you have just registered one SIM card and you find that there are 10 SIM cards, it means those 10 SIM cards are being used by these scammers who are sending these messages. And we don't want the consumers to be inconvenienced, because once a search warrant is produced by the police, you may find that actually innocent citizens are inconvenienced. So that's why actually we're trying to ensure that we partner with the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security through the digital identity card. What that entails is that the systems of the service providers and the INRI system, they're going to integrate, which will ensure that at point of registration, we register people who bear the actual identities and not perpetrators. So to us, we want consumers to feel safe and secure in using these platforms.
We are here at the showgrounds. We are at a stand where we are sharing information about what we do, our work, and of course in line with the theme for this year, which is inclusive economic transformation. First of all, just want to state very quickly that the Commission is a national human rights institution which is created by the Constitution of Zambia under Article 230, where its mandate is stipulated, and that includes investigating human rights violations, conducting research on key human rights issues, as well as conducting civic education, among other things. So the Commission is looking at this year's theme in terms of ensuring that there is a holistic approach in terms of promoting and protecting the rights of all people in Zambia, so that this inclusive approach, we don't leave anyone behind. As we know, all human beings are born equal in rights and dignity, and therefore it's important that every person's rights are respected, protected, and promoted. And in this respect, we are looking at all people. Whether you talk about children, you talk about persons with disabilities, you talk about women, you talk about people who are being marginalized, you talk about all other people, the older persons in society, all those, they are people entitled to same human rights. And we are looking at having these rights guaranteed, particularly by the Bill of Rights under that's Part 3 of the Constitution, which guarantees the rights and freedoms of the individual. And we recognize the fact that our current Bill of Rights is not adequate in terms of providing for all rights that we are entitled to. As human beings, we're entitled to all rights, including political, civil, economic, social, and cultural rights. But what you find at the moment is that the Bill of Rights has only enshrined civil and political rights. Therefore, the Commission would like to see a situation where even economic, social, and cultural rights of people, they are also included. But we need to amend the Bill of Rights, like we attempted in 2016, but this time around we are very hopeful that Zambians can decide to have these rights included, such as the right to education, you are talking about the right to health, right to social protection, you talk about the right to non-discrimination. All these rights should be included in a way that will help protect the rights of all people in Zambia. We would like to see that every Zambian has got that opportunity. So in every sector of the economy, in terms of accessing the services, we are saying that there should not be discrimination whatsoever of any person. As long as they are Zambians, they should be able to access these services I'm talking about. They should have a right to education. Every child, no one should be discriminated against. Talking about social cash transfer, people should be targeted, all those who are vulnerable and they are entitled according to the criteria that are set, they should be covered by such a social protection measure which helps to protect the most vulnerable of our society.
In the transformation of this particular economy, there will be different businesses that will come into being. As a Human Rights Commission this time around, we are dealing with many other issues that we call emerging human rights issues. One of it being business and human rights. Under business and human rights, you'll find that at the international level, there's what we call the United Nations Guiding Principles, which comes with itself 3 pillars. The first pillar is about the state needs to protect people from any impact or adverse impact of businesses. And at the same time, the state is given the mandate to protect people, these particular people from any third-party interference in the human rights. The third pillar is about giving responsibilities to companies or businesses that are running. And the third pillar is about providing remedy mechanism, both non-judicial and judicial mechanism. So under this economic transformation as a Human Rights Commission, we are promoting for a human rights-based approach. A human rights-based approach sits with the different principles. One of the principles that it works out with is the non-discrimination and equality principle. In this case, as you run whatever kind of businesses, you offer certain services, like he said. Let's take, for instance, in Zambia, we have business strategies that are coming in, empowerment measures that are coming in order for us to transform our economy. For example, we have the CEC. There will be different people that will apply. So the non-discrimination and equality approach is basically stating that no one should be left behind, regardless of the political race and other issues, as long as they meet the set criteria. The second aspect, it says that every person needs to participate and be included. In participating, we are being encouraged as Zambians to make sure that we participate in our economy. As the Human Rights Commission, we are promoting the aspect of that each and every person who participates shouldn't be left out. And we as well promote the aspect of, in case there's anyone who is not promoting inclusiveness, that person should be held accountable. So we promote, under the business human rights based approach, we promote accountability. And then at the same time, we promote the need for rule of law. In these issues that I've said, there's different economic strategies that have been put in place. Whoever is running these as a Human Rights Commission, we would want to see that the rule of law takes presidency. So under this, we are simply saying businesses should not impact the environment, the community, but they can work together with businesses to see to it their lives move forward. One other issue that we always want to see is that businesses, as they are developing, as they are transforming, they take into account of considering developing human rights policies.
So Zambia National Building Society has been around since 1970. We're wholly owned by government, and we were established with a core mandate of providing affordable financing for Zambians to own homes. So we're here to solve the problem of the housing deficit through financing solutions.
Tell us about some of the services that you provide as ZNBS.
Okay, so our flagship product is the mortgage product, and that's because of our role to help Zambians get to the point of home ownership. But over the years, we've also recognized that customers want an institution that can offer them all the services, so holistic banking. So we've gone into banking products and services, so we're able to offer our customers salary accounts, we're able to offer them deposit-taking accounts, savings accounts, fixed deposit accounts, and other banking loans. And of course, we are now digital, so our customers can transact with us through the mobile banking platforms, through internet banking and agency banking.
How does one qualify for these mortgages?
Okay, firstly, I need to say that we have a wide range of mortgages. Our mortgages range from construction mortgages, from which we can finance land from the ground up. We also have mortgages that allow you to build, so incremental building. And I think that's important because when we look at home ownership in Zambia, 80% of people who own their homes in Zambia do it through self-build. So construction, we've got outright purchase. Customers can buy complete properties. They can take out a home improvement mortgage, or they can get an equity release. That's where they already own a home, but they want to take out some funds from the home, release some equity, and invest in something else. So we have a range. Typically, to qualify for our customers, we need to do an income assessment. So we will look at your income stream, how much you're earning, any financial obligations, and then we will calculate for you what your qualifying amount is. We will of course take into consideration for customers who are employed your retirement age. So the maximum period that your mortgage can reach is your retirement age. So if you retire at 60 and you're 50, we'll give you a 10-year mortgage as a maximum. But our mortgages go up to 30 years. So it means that younger people can access those facilities and spread them out over a longer period of time, which makes it affordable. So if you want to find out how to qualify, I would just encourage you to visit our stand. We're at stand E2, right near the pavilion.
How do you interpret this year's theme?
Okay, so this year's theme of inclusive economic transformation, we have stayed true to our mandate, which is providing affordable housing finance. And we've done that through our project, our housing project in Chilanga called Kwatu Hills. When we started looking at this project a couple of years ago, we realized one of the reasons that people are struggling to own their own homes is the cost of land. It's a critical factor. That's part of the affordability equation. So we came in to say, look, let's innovate. If we can solve the cost of the land, it means that more people can qualify. So we were able to acquire this land with our partners through the councils, and we are able now we've serviced the land, so we're providing bulk services, and we will soon be going to market with affordable plots that customers can build on. So how does that translate to this year's theme? Firstly, it really speaks to the inclusivity. So we are launching this project with a view to including lower income earners, the civil servants, the defense wings, and providing a solution. And then when we look at economic transformation in this one project, it will create jobs. There'll be a lot of jobs in terms of construction, in terms of the land preparation already, and we're looking to work with the local community. And then on top of that, we've gone into an area that was relatively underdeveloped. So as a matter of fact, you will see through that economic transformation that all of a sudden there'll be social developments through the infrastructure. So we're basically giving back to the community through this project, and you can see a summary of this project here. So we expect that the community will benefit from this project. There'll be revenues coming in, there'll be commercial businesses coming in, paying rent, and creating more jobs and opportunities. So that's how we are interpreting the theme this year. I would say that we are a key player in this sector, and we have a critical role to play. So we've done that through several, it's not one size fits all, it's not one solution. So we've done that through several means. The first thing is when we look at our product, we have innovated to try and make it a lot more affordable so that people can access financing where they need it. So the way we're tackling that is we've lowered our interest rates, we've provided a longer period of time that people can borrow, so that makes it more affordable, and there are other initiatives as well. The second thing that we have done in this space is around creating an opportunity for customers who are not in the line of rail, they're not in the big cities where there's title. I think that's a critical issue for mortgages because only about 30% of property is on title currently. So it means you're excluding quite a large part of the population from borrowing through a mortgage. But because of that, we have gone a step further and we are able to offer mortgage financing using the occupancy licenses. Those are issued by the councils. And as we know, there are councils everywhere. So as ZNBS, we don't just finance in the major cities. We will provide a mortgage anywhere in Zambia, as long as that property is viable. And if it doesn't have a title, it must have an occupancy license. And we've even gone further because traditional land and other land that is just not an occupancy license or title, we have a product called the Building Materials Loan. And that is a hybrid product to help people own property, even though they don't have land that has that documentation. And then lastly, the same project around Kwatu Hills. We're replicating that affordable housing model across the country. So we've partnered with the councils. We're working with Mongu Council. Not so long ago, we launched our MOU. And so we're launching other projects that are similar to this, where we are going to provide affordable land so that Zambians can come in, buy that land, they can afford to get the financing for it. So that is how we intend to actually help and contribute to solving the housing deficit.
So how do people get in touch with ZNBS?
Okay, so firstly, if you're around here, please visit us, stand. But we also know we're digital, so you can go on the social media platforms. There'll be contact details there. We've got a website. We are in every province. We've got a branch in every province, but we realize that we have customers every corner of Zambia. So it's not everyone who wants to get to a branch, but we'd encourage you to use the social media platforms to be able to reach out to us as well.
The Zambia Institute of Human Resource Management is a professional body, originally established under Act number 11 of 1997 and continued under Act number 3 of 2022. The Zambia Institute of Human Resource Management, as a professional body, is mandated to regulate the HR profession in the country. By regulating, we mean to prescribe the standards of practice and also to regulate the conduct of the profession. That is to mean to check as in how the practice is conducted in the actual place so that it is not left to chance, but the laid down procedures are followed. It is also mandated to then investigate cases of professional misconduct. In case a person charged with the responsibility of human resource deviates from the laid down procedure, then they must be brought to book. That question always saddens my heart because it deals with compliance. our database stands at about 6,000 members. But registered this year, we're only about 2,800. So you can see that not even half, the majority of members are practicing illegally. And that leaves the practice to chance, because those that are illegally practicing, we have no confidence as to whether they are doing the correct thing or not. So this is where we are with the practice and the statistics. So the law is amended last year, has now given the Institute mandate to prosecute. Pursuant to Section 49, the law has established an inspectorate. This is the wing charged with the responsibility to go out in the organizations to check the compliance levels of the practitioners. So what are we going to do? We're recruiting more inspectors to go out there and check, to weed out the masqueraders. There are other activities that we do with our sister institutions who are also checking compliance, like NAPSA, NIMA, ZRA, Workers' Compensation, and the Ministry of Labor itself. So working together, we are truly going to weed out all those masqueraders. So the theme talks about inclusive economic transformation. Our interpretation of the theme is that we as a country want to move together in the transformation agenda without leaving someone. So what that means is that our policies, our strategies must be to remove all bottlenecks so that we transform together and achieve economic development. That is critical for human resource practitioners, in that transformation has to do with mindset change. And in the workplaces, that task is given to human resource practitioners to ensure that everyone in an organization, in an entity, is pulling together towards the desired goal. We already can talk about debt restructuring. People must change their minds to pull towards fulfilling this very important activity that is championed by our Republican president and his cabinet and all those that are in senior government officials. So that is how HR came.
There you have it. This is where we have to call it a day on the Lunchtime Cafe. I hope you did manage to get yourselves informed pertaining to various what various organizations are doing at the ongoing 95th Agriculture and Commercial Show, which is being marked under the theme Inclusive Economic Transformation. And this is where we have to call it today. And remember to keep it on Camnet TV, because Camnet TV is not just another channel. This has been Patrick Soko, and bye-bye.